Hello, hello. Welcome to another Tea with the Druid 345. My name is Philip Carr-Gomm, and Tea with the Druid is brought to you by the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. It's lovely to have you here. And this evening I have a very special guest who I've known about for years. You know that these people you know about for years and you never quite make contact, but finally I've made contact with Yuri and Yuri Leitch, whose speciality is a subject dear to every druid's heart, which is the magical Ogham, or Ogham as it can also be pronounced, of the trees. And I am going to invite Yuri to join us now. Yuri, how lovely to see you.
Hello, Philip.
Hello there, hello. And there you are in Cornwall. I'm in East Sussex, and you're in Cornwall. And I'm so glad that we've made contact. And I know that your speciality, as it were, is this wonderful system of working with trees that is beloved of contemporary druids and has a checkered history, as does so much in the druid world. But that shouldn't put us off. It just makes it more interesting, but a bit more complicated. But tell me, when did Ogham first appeal to you? When did you learn about it first, and how come it's become one of the main sort of focuses of your work?
Yeah, well, for me, it began around 2010, and at that time I was a bit brokenhearted over somebody.
Yeah,
and my therapy was whittling wood. I'm an artist by trade. But I'm drawing and painting. I'm not hands-on with clay or sculpture, but I quite enjoyed whittling wood. And I was drawn esoterically into tree lore, and so went to the Ogham looking for knowledge about trees from a Celtic perspective. And actually, the Ogham or Ogham as an alphabet doesn't give you a lot of tree lore, really, which we can talk about. But it meant studying this strange tree alphabet. And coinciding with that is my father started writing a novel when he was 70 about a Neolithic flint napper who went traveling around the British Isles. And he based his book on the 20 trees of the Ogham. So I was illustrating my dad's book, which meant I was spending a lot of time thinking about each of the Ogham trees. So I was whittling wood, and my dad had written a novel. And so I spent a deep dive into the Ogham, and amazing discoveries came out of that, which led on to the Ogham Grove.
And what is the Ogham Grove?
So traditionally, on the Dark Age pillar stones that have the oldest Ogham inscriptions on them, you read it as a straight line going from the ground upwards. Or on a medieval manuscript, you read it along a horizontal line going left to right, just like the Latin, But the Ogham Grove does something a little bit different. It takes the traditional medieval tree sequence and puts them around a circle. Okay. And as soon as you put the 20 trees around the circle, amazing patterns start to happen, which are mind-blowing, really. But all it was that naive idea of putting the trees in a circle instead of a straight line.
That's lovely. And of course, Robert Graves, who I suppose popularized the Ogham, put just 13 of them in his particular scheme. And of course, there's been a lot of criticism of people adopting his scheme naively without understanding the scholarship. And what was your reaction when you came? Did you start with Robert Graves?
No.
No.
I was actually mucking around with esoteric geometry to do with Rosicrucianism, and in Rosicrucianism, in Scottish Rite Freemasonry, there's a position called the 18th degree. The Knight of Rose Cross is the 18th degree of Scottish Rite. But I was just playing around with the geometry of the 18th degree. So if you take a circle 360 degrees and divide it by 18th degree, you get 20 exact sections. Okay. And that coincided with my dad's book. And so instinctively, I just put a tree in each of the 20 sections of the circle. Okay. And that created a pattern because it's hard to say it without a diagram, but the 20 trees are divided into 4 quarters. And the first quarter, each tree has a numerical value. So the Ogham letter has a single stroke to the right, and then the next one is 2 strokes to the right, and then 3 strokes to the right. So each quarter of the Ogham has a numerical value from 1 to 5.
That's right. Yeah.
That happens in each quarter. So when you put the 20 trees around the circle, that numerical pattern speaks. And so my friend and another Alan, a friend called Alan Royce in Glastonbury, he actually spotted what he called the patterns of 5. And it's very simple. It's the 5s are complete in themselves. The 1s and the 4s make 5. And the 2s and the 3s make 5.
Right.
So if you put the 20 Ogham in a circle, equally spaced in 18 degrees, and you make that numerical pattern of everything adding up to 5, it gives you a perfect diagram of a circle divided into 8 sections, which looks like the solstices, the equinoxes, Imbolc, Beltane, Lunar, Samhain stuff. So it makes that perfect 8-spoked wheel of the year.
Okay.
And then what's really strange are the patterns that happen with that then. So on the position of Beltane, on either side is oak and holly. Oak King, Holly King at Beltane. And this is no contrivance. This is from a 14th century manuscript, just put them around the circle. So you've got oak and holly either side at Beltane. And then stepping back at Imbolc, you've got the rowan tree and the alder tree, both of which have connections with Brigid, and Imbolc is Brigid's festival. So there's other patterns. So they're not all trees. 2 of them at Samhain are gorse and heather. They're uniquely for the wild heath. So at Samhain, you've got the heathland plants, time for the wild hunt and stuff. There's some fun patterns like that. Probably the most important is that the winter solstice is the yew tree, and the summer solstice is the apple tree.
And I suppose if each quarter is divided has 5 trees within it, the 3rd tree in each quarter is going to fall on the day of the festival, on the time of the festival. Is that right?
Yeah. So the yew tree and apple tree hold the winter and summer solstices, right? And the cross quarter festivals, Imbolc and Beltane and so on, they're sandwiched between 2 trees. It's like 2 trees are holding that moment, and that moment is the line between those 2 trees.
Which, of course, is fitting for the cross-quarter days, because those are liminal times. Those are the times of transition from one season to the next.
Yes.
So that makes sense too. How very interesting. What do you do with the five extra ones? Because there are 25 in the Ogham, but 5 of them are.
Yeah. So the additional ones are known as the forfeder.
Yeah.
Which literally means additional 5. That's what it means. And they come about much later. They come about in the medieval days. They're not part of the sequence that was used in the 4th century and 5th century. So the Iron Age, the Dark Age alphabet was just 20. And then when you get to medieval manuscripts, there's these additional 5. So I haven't incorporated them in the circumference of the wheel, but different people use them in the center of their grove.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people now are using the Ogham Grove as a meditational space, or a inner grove, an astral grove sort of thing. And so what we have in common is the circumference trees. But what you grow in your own garden is unique to you, and how you work with it as a sanctuary inside you.
That's lovely. And has anybody planted a grove with this particular sequence? I mean, in the physical world, as it were.
I know of 2 definite ones, and I know of other people that are talking about it. I don't know how far they've got, but there's one in England and there's one in Normandy near Mont Saint Michel.
Oh, nice! How lovely!
Yeah.
How lovely.
But this idea of a year wheel of 20 trees has only been around since I first published it around 2014. So it's not on the horizon of most people, though it's growing.
Yes, how very interesting. And so have you painted, because you're an artist as well? Have you made drawings or paintings of the trees?
Yeah, and I'm still in process of doing that. There's a group on Facebook that I set up in 2015, and a few years ago, 6 years ago, we started doing a journal. So we have a journal that comes out each year, and now I'm working on volume 6.
Volume 6. What's in the journal?
So it's any lore to do with that tree. So the first volume 1 was the birch tree, and we saturated it with things to do with the birch tree, and that incorporated ideas of Ellen of the Ways and so on, deer goddesses in general, or sovereignty goddesses. And then looking at the lore, so we've done the rowan tree with Brigid, we did the alder tree with Bran and Branwen, we did the willow tree with the 9 maidens, and we did the ash tree with Lugh. And so this year is the hawthorn tree and the May Queen, the Queen of Fairy or whatever. And people put in poems and writing and artwork. And
what a lovely idea. That's fantastic. Yeah, real group effort that you're kind of focusing. Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. That's great. So let me ask you now, and of course I think you, with your artwork, you're creating an oracle, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah. That all happens.
Yes. So when we and you're going to lead us in a meditation in a little bit, and then when we come out of that, you must say more about the oracle so that people can because it's due to be published around the time that this broadcast is going out in sort of mid-February. And so that's wonderful. People can follow up on that work. That's fantastic. And good. Well, I think perhaps it's time now for us to dive into the meditation and really experience it. And then when we come out of the meditation, tell us more about the oracle. Let's do that.
Okay, then. So I'm very big on not creating any dogma. So some of the things I describe in the meditation are just motifs that we've done in the last couple of years, but I want people to realize that it's not fixed in stone, that it's mutable and it can grow how any way you want to. So with a specific tree, I might mention a god or goddess, but there's no dogma in that. You know, it's just
Right.
what it made sense in the last few years that we've spent studying it.
That makes a lot of sense. That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you for saying that. Okay. Well, I shall remove myself now from the screen. So it's all yours.
Okay. So to begin with, we do a little bit of slow breathing to relax the mind, relax the brain. We're looking to get some visual images. So we want to daydream while staying awake. So the easiest way to do that is by slowing the breath down. So what we do is we sit upright and relax the shoulders, and then we just breathe in slowly. And whenever you're ready, you breathe out slowly. Now, everybody has a different lung capacity, so don't try and keep up with me or anyone else. Just to your own rhythm, breathe in slowly and breathe out slowly. You're using your breath to slow your mind down, to relax your brain. So whenever you breathe in, energy rises up your spine, all the way to your pineal gland. And whenever you breathe out, you relax your neck, relax your shoulders, relax your forehead and your eyes. So we're just slowing the breath down. Breathing in slowly until you feel your pineal gland is stimulated, and then you just relax. Let it all go down as you exhale. Whenever you breathe in, vitality comes up your spine to your pineal gland. And more important than that is whenever you breathe out, you relax. You relax your neck, relax your shoulders, relax your eyes and your forehead, relax your brain. So we're changing the brain waves by breathing slowly, because we want to take ourselves to the edge of sleep. We want to dream, but stay awake. Slowing the breath down is good for our brains, good for ourselves. So I'm going to narrate the meditation, but keep breathing slowly. And whenever you exhale, just relax the tension in your neck, in your shoulders, in your brain. Breathing in brings inspiration. Breathing out relaxes the body, relaxes the mind, relaxes the brain. So I'm going to have my eyes closed because it helps me describe the visualization. I'm not reading from a script. So this, what I'm about to describe, has been developed over the last 3 years of going around the year looking at each tree with a group of people. So just keep breathing slowly. Now, picture yourself in a clearing in a forest. Could be your own Ogham Grove, or it can just be your ideal sanctuary, your perfect woodland sanctuary. A clearing in the forest, sacred ground, holy ground, and you're surrounded by trees. You're standing in the center of the clearing, and the trees are observing you. The trees are protecting you. The trees are holding you. And underneath the ground, below your feet, Under the earth is the mycelium of the forest floor. Fibers of energy like a massive cobweb connecting all the trees of the forest. And through the mycelium, they can give each other nutrients and water, and they can heal each other. And through the soles of your feet, you can connect with the mycelium cobweb of the forest floor. Standing there in the center of the clearing, you can become a tree connected to all the other trees. Part of the forest. Now, looking to the north. In the north is an ancient yew tree, thousands of years old, covered in little red fruit known as arils, like little red berries. And the yew tree is our destination. It's the conclusion of this meditation. It holds the position of winter solstice, the rebirth of the sun. So we're going to go around the grove, acknowledging each tree until we get to the yew tree. So to the right of the yew tree is the birch tree. The birch is the first tree of the Ogham Grove. Tall and slender trunk, pale and silvery, sometimes papery, fine branches hanging down like hair. The birch, sacred to the goddess Ellen of the Ways, and to all goddesses of sovereignty and of the land. To the right of the birch tree is the rowan tree. The rowan tree is a happy tree covered in bright red shiny berries. Tree of inspiration, sacred to the goddess Brigid, goddess of poetry and inspiration. And to the right of the rowan tree is the position of Imbolc, first day of spring, the festival of the goddess Brigid. To the right of Imbolc is the third tree, the older tree. The older tree carries the story of the Bran and Branwen, the divine siblings, protectors of the land, and custodians of the cauldron of renewal, cauldron of rebirth. To the right of the older tree, now by the water's edge, is the willow tree. And willow is sacred to the 9 muses, remembered in lots of folklore as the 9 maidens, the daughters of memory, poetic inspiration, whose breath keeps warm the cauldron of Anun. To the right of the willow tree, now facing due east, is the mighty ash tree. The ash tree holds the position of east, the sunrise, the dawn, spring equinox, light triumphant over darkness, corresponding with divine kingship and the young god Lu, triumphant over forces of darkness. To the right of the ash tree, beginning the second quarter, is the hawthorn tree, covered in beautiful May blossoms sacred to the goddess Olwen, daughter of Uspathaden Pengower, but celebrated throughout England as the May Queen, the Queen of Fairy, Lady Elfheim, Dame Venus, the heart's desire, the queen of every hive. To the right of the hawthorn tree is the mighty oak tree, king of the woods, the most sacred tree of druids, dryads. But the oak is also deciduous. It drops its leaves in the autumn, so symbolically mortal. To the right of the oak tree is the position of Beltane, first day of summer, and the rites of May. And on the right side of Beltane is holly, the first of the evergreen trees of the Ogham. And holly keeps its leaves evergreen, so symbolically immortal. So on either side of Beltane is the mortal oak and the immortal holly. Aspects of our own nature. We are both mortal and eternal. The mysteries of May. To the right of the holly tree is the hazel. Hazel is the tree of intuition and wisdom, salmon of wisdom, and all the mercurial gods that create alphabets, like Ogma, like Odin, Gwydion, Hermes, Thoth. They're all the mercurial woodland wizards. To the right of the hazel tree, now facing due south, is the apple tree. The place of apples is Avalon. Avalon literally means realm of apples, and the apple tree holds the position of summer solstice, the summer lands. The three magic golden apples of Celtic mythology, the three birds of Rhiannon, Adar Rhiannon. To the right of the apple tree is the vine, the grapevine, the fruits of the wine, which lead on to mystery traditions celebrated around Lunasa. Wine is the wine for the sacred marriage ceremony, but it's also the raisins and sultanas to sweeten your bread. Fruits of the trees is the third quarter of the Ogham. To the right of the vine is ivy. In the mystery schools, ivy and vine leaves were mixed together as a potent brew in the rites of Dionysus and Bacchus. We make our way to the time of the mysteries, and ivy takes us to the Celtic Bacchus, Dionysus, because ivy takes us to the celebration of Lunasa, festival of Lu. On the other side of Lunasa is the beautiful golden-haired maiden goddess, Broom. Broom with the bright yellow flowers also corresponds with the constellation of the heavenly grail cauldron wine mixing cup of the sacred marriage, constellation called Crater, the wine mixing vessel. She is the Grail maiden with golden hair, and to the right of Broom is Blackthorn. Blackthorn corresponds with Virgo, the mother goddess, Demeter, Ceres, Ceridwen and her cauldron. And at this time of the year is the descent into the mysteries. This is when Gwion Bach was consumed to be born 9 months later at Beltane. To the right of Blackthorn is the elder tree, now facing due west. The grandmother, cutting away all that no longer serves your purpose as you pass through the autumn equinox into the mysteries. To the right of the elder tree is the pine tree, first tree of the final quarter. Pine corresponds with the ridges above settlements, where the warriors would prepare for the wild hunt, like Fimacool and the Fianna of Ireland, chasing the stag to the ancestral realms. And to the right of the pine tree is the golden gorse, offering shelter from the storm for snakes and small animals on the wild heath. And to the right of gorse is the position of Samhain, time of the wild hunt, psychopomp, leading spirits to the next world and to the ancestral realms. To the right of Samhain is heather, offering comfort for the winter, bedding for mattresses, kindling for the fire, even making ale, heather ale, the old Celtic recipe. And to the right of heather are the aspen trees. The aspen trees are the ancestral sacred ground. Through every single twig of the aspen tree runs a 5-pointed star. It's the tree of stars, tree of spirits. And through the aspen woods, we are led to the conclusion of this journey. To the right of the aspen trees is the ancient yew tree at the position of winter solstice. Breathe slowly, relax whenever you exhale. I'll be quiet for 2 minutes and you can stay in the center of the grove or go to any tree that calls to you and daydream. Okay, listen to my voice. Come back to the center of the clearing. Come back to the center of the sacred grove. Come back to here and now. I want you to make fists with your hands, squeeze your hands and make tight fists. And then make fists with your feet, squeeze your toes, feel your strength. Come back to the here and now, knowing that you can return to the Ogham Grove whenever you want to and make it your own. Come back to here and now and open your eyes. Come back to here.
Thank you so much, Yuri. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome.
That was absolutely wonderful. A wonderful meditation. And what I believe you also are interested in astrology, and you bring astrology into your explications, don't you?
As soon as you have a circle aligned with the 4 directions, you are also aligned with the stars. And one of the things said about the Druids is that they were great astronomers. So then there's seasonal stars that come and go with the winter and summer. And there's stars that are circumpolar, that are always there. So the circumpolar stars relate to the center of the grove. But the winter stars and the summer stars relate to different parts of the circumference. Just like you can say someone's a Leo or a Virgo or a Sagittarius sort of thing.
Yes.
So the trees, the zodiac divides the year into 12, and the Ogham divides the year into 20 trees. You know?
Good. Well, you must come and give some workshops for us. And and in the order we have a wonderful hearth, a kind of private area for members where we can do workshops and gatherings and have events and so on, and share materials together and so on. So I'm going to welcome you into that too.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for introducing this to us. And you're hoping that your Ogham set of cards, or Ogham set that you've created, will it have a book as well, or is it just the cards?
So at the moment, it's being published right now, and there's 56 cards. 20 of them are tree dryads. 20 of them are botanical images of each tree to help you identify each tree. And then there's 16 special cards, which we've called grove cards. And they're kind of like esoteric ideas that you can do inside your grove.
Right.
Sort of thing. So there's 56 cards, and published in February, it will have a little booklet so that you can use it for readings. And my intention is later into the autumn, I will do a kind of hardback book of about 300 pages going into more ideas.
Into detail. Lovely. Fantastic. Okay. Well, we'll give a link to your card set in the show notes. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks, Yuri. And thank you, everybody, for being with us on this Tea with a Druid. I hope you've enjoyed this, and look forward to seeing you again next week. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Bye. Bless you.